All right, there we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to May's, just barely May's installment of our ROG Roundtable, our monthly meetup or bi-monthly meetup this year. So focus this month is on integrators and their role in building and scaling and deploying fleets of robots around the world. So we've invited Anthony and Alfredo to come and discuss with us. So gentlemen, in an email, I asked if you could prepare a couple of minutes just for an introduction of yourself and your role to lead us off, and then we can jump into discussing how you fit into the broader robotics ecosystem and how you're helping build and scale these things. So I'll let one of you go first and then jump to the other, and then we'll get right into this.
Awesome. So Joe, I'll go first. Manthan Pawar from Barcodes Inc. Really the background in product management and business development is what I look after. So really owning the robotics business at Barcodes. So quick background about Barcodes Inc. Traditionally started with the e-commerce platform for AIDC. And since 2019, wherein we saw a lot of demand for robotics, quickly jumped into robotics as a system integrator, and now a leading value-added reseller and a system integrator for mobile robotics. So, first of all, thanks Florian and Joe to invite me, and it's amazing initiative. I didn't know about this initiative at all, and great to hear something like this exists and be a part of it. And because this is the point wherein in the industry we start accepting robot operations and how to scale robot operations, how to have multi-fleet operations and orchestration together. So I'm really excited to be a part of this community.
It's my moment. Okay, no, I'm Alfredo. I'm based in Italy. I work in a company. It's called Movincar. We are part of a big European group which is called Aprolis. We dedicate to material handling, and I'm in charge in Italy in Movincar of the mobile robot division. We are basically an integrator too. We integrate different brands of mobile robots and other types of automated material handling systems. So our job is just to find projects, find the technical solution, and define what is the best mobile robot that is needed for that specific solution, for that specific project. So regardless the brand, I mean, we work with several suppliers, but we just keep focus on the requirements first, and then we define what is the best a robot to implement. So we can find several types of robots in the same shop floor. So we face all these problems every day.
Awesome, and thank you both for joining us. I'll open the floor for seed questions before I jump in on my own. If anyone has some specific questions or anything to add before we jump in. All right, so let's talk about getting started, which is, there's a lot of companies in the robotics space right now that are trying to go from 0 to 1, 1 to 5, and certainly in a value-added reseller and a system integrator role, that's not what you're looking for. So from a robot builder perspective, when you're working with new companies, you're trying to scope out new technologies, what are you looking for?
Price.
All right.
No. I mean, it's not just about price for sure. Okay, it's clear. There is more and more knowledge in the market that is allowing to be technically better and to propose better technical solutions, of course. So it's a question of education of the customers. So the decision is shifting from price, okay, from also technical, more technical aspects, I would say. But anyway, as integrators, we need have competitive solutions, because we are anyway competing with direct manufacturers in our areas, So we need to have good, reliable suppliers. That's of course given. That need to be competitive. Okay, so we need to be competitive against those that are supplying directly, and to promote the solutions, and to make also the brand awareness of these companies we are working with. We are also going to exhibition. We are promoting anyway, anyhow, this mobile robot. So this is why, even if it was some kind of provocative, its price is not all, but it's an important part of the thing.
And can I just add to Alfredo's answer, right? Yeah, so we come across a lot of manufacturers of AMRs and a lot of use cases, great use cases, industries. AMRs not commoditized today, but it's becoming a commodity as we understand. The really the end game that we see is for a system integrator, that how do we add our capabilities and create workflows out of what AMRs we get from our manufacturers, right? Traditionally, if you see robotic arms, how it started and where it is right now, you pick any robot manufacturer for arm like ABB, KUKA, Fanuc, and Kawasaki's of the world. You're seeing now a greater shift into value-added software, AI-added systems integration, right? For example, covariant or dexterity, and I believe these are AI-added system integrators who aren't selling just a individual robot, but a value-added software workflow. So that's our approach. So what we look for in a manufacturer is number one, a robot that's well defined in a boundary wherein we can add value as a system integrator, create workflows on our own, and really be that arm for the end user, wherein the end workflow is being solved by a system integrator. So that's my short add to what Alfredo just mentioned.
So what you mean when you say, excuse me, when you say providing value, okay, added value from the let's say the hardware, what do you look for in the supplier? How do you evaluate if the supplier is allowing you to give further value to the final customer?
Got it. Yeah, no, in AMR industry, right, how it started is direct business. Like a lot of manufacturers are still direct, right? If you look at other type of automation, it shifted to only channel-based or system integrator-based approach, and it takes a long time. And AMR is still very new to really fully take that approach. But now we are seeing a lot of consolidation, right, with Fetch getting acquired by Zebra, which Zebra is fully channel-driven organization. So mainly Zebra Fetch becoming a fully channel-driven organization, and even others that are not clearly winning but have a greater share of the market in the AMR industry, who's trying to get there and be a channel-driven organization. So I'll call them like a much on the mature side of manufacturers who have been deployed in many facilities. So that's something we're looking for, right? In your roadmap, are you looking to be a channel-driven organization? And is that's true, then we can target those, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 customers through channel instead of manufacturers going direct. So I think that's one of the top things that when we look at manufacturer is, what does that roadmap look like? Am I selling it to your solution to Fortune 1000, or are you going direct with these customers? So that's something really important for us as an SR.
So one one question I wanted to pose here, not just for the people who are currently watching or participating, but also people who will watch the recording after the fact, when I get my act together and actually process the videos. Apologies for everyone in advance, but maybe you can provide, I would call it the anatomy of a systems integration deal. Obviously, every deal is a little different, but I think they do follow some patterns. And kind of like the things I'm envisioning is, at what point in the cycle does a end user engage you? What does that look like? Is this like a 9-month process? Is it a 2 months process? What can you handle versus what do they need to negotiate on their own? And if you can, obviously, without disclosing any confidential information, but kind of like a sense for, how much is hardware, how much is services, and how much is software in a typical deal.
Got it.
And maybe Alfredo, we'll start with you. And you're on mute.
It's my typical mistake, and I always do this. Well, typically the customer engage us or contact us because in our case, we are a big European company. We are in all the countries. We have a big customer base, and we supply many things. Okay, not only robots and let's say automation. So, many of these solutions are rented. Okay, so forklifts or platforms and other stuff. So many of the opportunities that we are having today come from our current customer base, which is shifting from manual operations to autonomous operations. Okay, and considering that we already have our people doing maintenance or people doing other works in their factories, they ask us to evaluate and to propose some kind of automation. And in many times, it's just like a general request. They do not really know what they want, and they ask, how could we improve some kind of process? What could we deliver? And then it's up to us to pack a solution that could integrate different types of things, from the software to the WMS or robots. It depends. So this is one of the ways. For example, we do a lot of training and a lot of showrooms internally, and we invite people to come and to see these new things, and then when they start to see new technologies, they start asking about the new potential, let's say, applications. So this is how we typically go into the business. If I would say that for what regards hardware to software or services, around 50-50, more or less. So if we have a project around $1 million or euro, half of that is typically hardware, and the other half is software and implementation, and then the services that are related afterwards. So some kind of maintenance, some kind of updates maybe from the project, but I would say this around 50-50. Depends a lot also on the type of vehicle. If we have big vehicles, for example, like VNAs or rich trucks, of course, these vehicles, that one single vehicle costs more than 200,000 euro. Maybe the shift between the robot and the software is more steel and less labor cost. I would say like that. But I would say this, as I said, 50-50 more or less. At least in my market, as far as I do here.
So I'm curious, Nathan, with your take see if there are any difference between Europe and North America, which I believe Barcodes is primarily focused on North America, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just add to Alfredo's answer? So traditionally, what we saw is obviously we have existing book of business with whatever 30,000 load customers, and we induce a new product category, which is robotics. We see a lot of demand, sell, that's amazing. That's existing book of business. But I'm also seeing a lot of shift in wherein our partners are bringing us opportunities, wherein our OEM partners, manufacturers, with their demand gen and their marketing that they have leads, they bring us in to handle these deals, which is something interesting to see. Mainly what I see is why this is as a manufacturer, your core focus is building robots and making your robots improved, and really focusing on your software autonomy, making them competitive versus other manufacturers. So less focus on sales and deployment and integration and post sales is what I'm seeing. So clearly in the food chain, I call it the value chain, you have component suppliers, then you have AMR manufacturers, then you have system integrators like us, then you have middlewares, WMSs, and then end users. I'm seeing this getting consolidated and more focused, wherein manufacturers are now started to strictly focus on engineering, so that we as resellers and sellers and system integrators can focus more on sales and professional services and deployments. And really the revenue segregation for us, I'll say 50% in hardware, 40% in professional services and services and deployment, and 10% in software, value-added services. So that's what we are seeing in the North American market. But really interesting to see that our OEM partners bringing us leads and customers for us.
Yes, because this is I think this is a moment now where demand is growing, and this is arriving demand to these OEM manufacturers, and this is a moment where they have to decide what to do, okay? Or focus on manufacturing, as you say, or deploying or investing also in all these, let's say, commissioning and service people, okay, I would say this way. Because until now, I will not now, maybe some year ago, these companies were doing everything. Okay, maybe they have some local suppliers, but now the demand is growing so fast that they cannot afford all this business all around the world in a proper way, I guess. So it's true what you say. We are also having projects directly from our partners, OEM manufacturers. But there is always a moment in which, for example, for big key accounts, these big key accounts are typically kept under the OEM manufacturer control. Okay, so there is always this moment where who is dealing what. I mean, depending on the customer, depending on the market also. But you are right. These stakeholders are more and more profiling and are more and more consolidated, as you said. Okay, manufacturers, integrators, and users. And I think there will come some other new model. I don't know how, but things will move.
Interesting. I'm wondering from a perspective that you both sit at. Do you see? Well, I guess there's two ways to interpret this question, and I'll kind of leave that up to you. in terms of your business model and going forward, do you see a lot of efforts being put into initial deployments of systems with customers? Do you see a lot being focused now on upgrades and added capabilities? Do you see, you mentioned, I think, Nathan, I think it was you mentioned aftermarket support. Do you see a lot of repair and training, and like, how's the breakdown with where do you see it going, and how does it break down in terms of, as part of the values you provide, you know, is it more front end? Is it more back end? Is it starting to become balanced?
Yeah, definitely it has been balanced for us. Initially, I mean, we started our business in 2020, so it's pretty new. The systems that we have deployed and we're deploying pretty new for us. Uh, I don't think there's a lot of failures and post-sale problems that we see, at least at this moment. And then we are also sticking with manufacturers with amazing case studies and something that really works. So that's one thing. The other part to cover is really um, our focus is mainly on the front end side of it, meaning how do we find customers, how do we market it well, how do we position these different OEMs for a right workflow in the right direction. That's our key focus. Customer education's part of it, because what you'll see is traditionally all these AMR buyers were strictly in Fortune 500. I don't know if you guys observed it, but and what, Alfredo, your take is on this. But maybe during COVID, it was assumed to be still a luxury for to have AMRs, wherein only the adoption was Fortune 500 customers, but which we now see with customer education and with these marketing events and trade shows at ProMat and Automates. And as customers understand, this is not a luxury, and it's really, you know, something that they need. And with robot as a service, wherein ROI can be proven on day one, then that's really what the key is for robot as a service. We see a lot of shift on even the market. So we're seeing now a lot of demand on SMB side, which is really surprising to us. The volume may not be there. It may still be, 8 to 10 robots, but the demand of number of customers is really increased on that side. So that's what we see. What is your take, Alfredo, on this?
We are, I think that, well, there is a big demand also of robots in companies that are not so big. We are installing even 1 or 2 robots. I'm talking also about, as I said, also big robots, okay? Not only for e-commerce or these typical to persons or these types of robots. I'm talking also for forklifts. That maybe a project with 20 is already a good project. So if you are only starting 1 or 2, in any case, it's also already a project that the value is depending on the type of robot. We're talking about 300,000, 400, 500,000. So there are companies that are not so big. There are maybe around 200 people, 300 people that are starting to ask. And this is I think it's for integrators, it's a good business, because it's there that we are giving more value, because we are providing more our expertise for that kind of companies. And we could have more projects with less vehicles, less number of vehicles, but in any case, we will invoice, I would say that, more of our value, okay? Not maybe less robots, but more integration, more programming. So I see that all the robots are coming cheaper. They are coming user friendly. So as you said before, Madam, they are somehow becoming a commodity. Not in all the cases, not all the robots, but in some cases, yes, they are becoming a commodity. So this is why when you come with expertise and you provide the solution, that is where we really make the business. And in many cases, we do not have even competition. I mean, in terms of another mobile robot supplier or another integrator, because the only competitor is the manual solution. So if the business case or the payback is okay, it's okay. Okay, you go. They don't just have time, or they believe in you and you go, because you have provided a good technical solution, and that's it. And we are facing big projects in big companies, but also small companies. In the past, we had only companies working 3 shifts because the payback was otherwise was a disaster. Now with 2 shifts, we are selling quite a good number of projects, and even one shift. Maybe there are other logic behind of safety of because of other reasons, but also one shift we are seeing. In the past, it was impossible because the payback was 9 years, and no way. Now it's easier.
Oh, that's interesting to see. See, Alfred, you mentioned seeing demand for AMRs even in one shift. What do you think is the reason behind that? Are customers looking at ROI, or it's just the labor shortage that's driving the requirement for AMRs and material handling automation without even proving an ROI?
I think there is the ROI is always to be taken into consideration. But what I'm seeing, what I think is that you could even have a good ROI today with the price level that we have with the robots. In the past, there were also many how to say. There was much more strict. You have to have I don't know, floor conditions, environment conditions. So it was more difficult to find suitable applications. Okay? Now robots are becoming more intelligent, are easier to install, are, as I said, cheaper. So it's opening new applications. And it's in terms of money, okay, labor cost is right, but you know better than me. It's raising, roads are going down, so this is why I think there is opening these new opportunities. There's another topic. Okay, it's a trend, so it's also trendy to have these solutions, and in many occasions there is the drive is the general manager want to have this latest technology, and they want to have it, and that's all. Okay, and even for example, when you come to a customer and you say, what do you want to do? Okay, you could do it with this technology. No, I want the last one. Okay, it's not necessary, but if you want it, here it is. And in many occasions, it is happening.
So I had a hopefully not unkind question. I think present company excluded. I think there's a broad range of systems integrators out there, and I think a lot of them have historically worked on like very fixed production lines. When it comes time to talk about software, I think as an industry, the systems integrator industry isn't as caught up. For a lot of SIs, software means ladder logic in a PLC, which I would argue isn't actually software, but that's a more philosophical discussion. But I think what we're seeing is with this new range of AMRs, the complexity of the software integration becomes much larger compared to more traditional deployments. So I'm curious on your perspective and where you see software. I mean, we've talked a lot about the hardware side, and the robots, of course, are the stars of the show. But where does software come in? And I can tell you from my own experience, sometimes speaking with SIs, like when you say the word API, eye and you get that kind of like glazed look in their eyes, you're like, oh, okay, we need to go back. So curious about your take and how you see the market as a whole evolving.
I love this question. Unless Alfredo, you want to take this first?
Go ahead, go ahead. I listen to you and I can think something.
Got it. Okay. All right. So yeah, great question. And traditional system integration, right? It's always been focused more on talent and number of employees and professional services, very focused on the employees talent and how you have systems engineers and deployment engineers and things like that, which is true still. But some of us, this was, I guess, recent last week when I met with Zebra and Honeywell Integrated. And I put this forward as in, as you go in the generation of AI and software first focus, is the system integration model wherein you're heavily focused on your army of engineers. Is that sustainable? And my outcome from that was really, how do you add value on the software side to make systems integration repetitive and easy and not something labor intensive and something that you need an army of engineers behind deployments and integration. Number one, right? The answer is what we want this industry to go towards, and it's not there. It won't be there for next 10 years as I see it. But the AMRs become so easy to deploy and integrate that an end user just goes on an e-commerce platform to order. Okay, the industry is there for some of the other technologies where you see AIDC, where you see some of the conveyance type of applications. You can go online and try to order a conveyor or like other print and apply and other automation types. You can possibly do that. Obviously AMRs aren't there, but where I'd like this to go is purely demand gen and an e-commerce platform where now I need a V100 or Auto 100 or whatever. I'm gonna be able to buy it and deploy it on my own really easily. And then our value is mainly on that software side or AI side, wherein the integrations become so easy that it's not a month-long task or a year-long task, and less heavily dependent on an army of systems engineers or deployment engineers or hardware engineers. So that was an interesting discussion for me with Zebra and Honeywell. Yeah, Alfredo, what's your take on this?
Well, if we talk about integration of systems, clearly software is becoming more and more important. Okay, there are three what we call interoperability. Okay, there are three ways to see it. So is the interoperability, for example, with other fleets, okay, different types of robots, is clear. And well, if you're working on that, your business, you know much better than I do. That is coming more and more, this demand from customers. Okay. As far as I've seen, is here in Europe, we are starting to ask for that. But there is not a real demand yet, okay, because everything is undergoing. I mean, everything is under development. So the concept is clear, okay. One platform, you manage everything, and that's clear. But there are many things behind that are still under development. So the interoperability in terms of fleet management, different types of fleets of robots, okay, with their communication protocols or whatever they have. The interoperability with human-based systems, okay? So how do these robots interoperate with humans? Okay, so how is the user interface? So all what is related to humans and a robot, what is the frontier between them? This is always that the software should be provide value, okay? And then the other one is the integration with other systems in the factory, not only other mobile robots. I'm talking about conveyors, elevators, ERP, WMS, so all these things, you know. So it's clear that the software is a key element. So these softwares that are able to integrate all of these, they are rising, and we will see them more and more. I have not seen one application where all the customers are putting, or customer is putting everything under one single system that is managing all these three things. Okay, maybe they are having only something for the mobile robot, something for, but not everything under the same, let's say, deck. Then one thing is that you are able to communicate. Okay, that's good. But then what does the software do on top of the other things? How does the software improve the performance? This is something that is not easy to understand and to see. Okay, because if I have the software from Locus, I don't know, and a third-party software that is integrating Locus and another one, okay, this is a value, that's good. But what else does this software do more than the Locus one? That is already a great software, okay? In terms of reporting, in terms of fleet optimization, in terms of other things, because they already connect with everything, more or less, okay? So this is maybe, Florian, you can provide more. Where are you going in this in this sense, in this direction of what is the value added further than the simply connection? That is, of course, at a given point, it must arrive.
So I'm going to try. So Joe and I do this thing where we try to keep our separate hats separate. So I'm going to try to stick with my ROG co-founder hat and maybe open it up for other people who want to comment on that aspect. Alfredo. Okay. Maybe Michael.
I don't necessarily. I mean, I think those are definitely the 2 points that I kind of see where, as I see the management of robots, there's that balance between when a client basically has robot software and they have their own kind of software, and the benefit of just sticking with that kind of world, as opposed to when you have a multiple fleet system, multiple robots, and you have one system that basically manages all robots. I feel like you always have there's always the benefit of an overarching software that kind of manages everything, but where's that point where the local like the local robotic software that comes with the robot is good enough where you don't actually need an overarching software. There's that balance between the two. So I think there's that like defining kind of like shift between those two systems.
Cool. Well, we've got a few minutes left. I want to ask one. Don't know if there's a positive spin on it, but I'm curious your take on what's the biggest challenge that you as an integrator are trying to solve today?
The customer. Oh, I mean, no, I'm always provocative, but it's true. I mean, the big challenge we have is people. I mean, if we talk about, okay, then we can talk about something technical, okay? But the big challenge is people. There are very complex projects that you go and are perfect, okay? in very easy projects that you go to the factory or the warehouse or whatever it is, and it's a mess because of the people that is managing the project and is taking over the operations of these robotic systems. And because lack of knowledge, because reluctancy to change. But at the end of the day, it's mainly people, because technically, I think that mobile robots are consolidated. They work well. Also from the software point of view, the main problems that I think that arise from the application itself and the people that is managing the application itself. That is as far as I see. If we talk about technical stuff, the Wi-Fi is always a disaster. But otherwise, I think is more this limitation of the integration of in environments where there is human interaction and there are people that are taking care of this work. There is always it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, the biggest challenge from my side, I guess, will be the availability of talent in pool in the professional services side for robotics. There's not a lot of talent available in the industry right now, which we can hire, go after. And that's where the need comes from, right? How do we rely less on people and engineers to deploy systems easily with software, wherein, or even on the customer side, they can deploy these easily, wherein we can focus more on just the use cases and workflows and software. I don't know if you all are seeing this, but in last 5 to 6, 7 years, let's say where the industrial arm and articulated arm industry was and where it is today, right? I think you can see a clear difference. You would have individual arm manufacturers, as I said, initially as a start. And then now you see value added, software added workflows, right? And I love that. And I want exactly similar approach for mobile robotics, wherein there is a commodity, we add software and vision systems and create workflows. And there are many such initiatives that we are working on. A good example is wherever Cube ASRS is deployed or AutoStore is deployed, we're working towards a lot of a broad project wherein we do the piece picking from bins to pack out with AMRs, right? So wherein there is a synergy of AutoStore, a piece picking application, and AMR, and they sell it as a productized software added solution. Okay, that's one part. So I want to see this more, wherein we have more of dexterities, covariants, and plus ones of world in AMR application, wherein you're adding your software on top of a commodity, which robotic arms are, and then make use cases and end user workflows. And that to me as a system integrator is the end game. How do I sell not AMRs but end user workflows, right? Wherein, and that's the biggest gap in the industry right now. Fortune 500 customers have their own automation teams that design workflows and that look for and hunt for these AMRs. However, rest of the industry doesn't know how to use AMRs and what applications to use the AMRs for, right? If we productize the end user workflows and educate customers, okay, this is AutoStore or ASRS to pack out workflow. Here it is. It's turnkey. It's already been deployed. Here you go. And similar to this, maybe other workflows. That's what I would love to see in a system integration environment in the future.
I have a feeling that we're gonna see that happen, not happen, then snap our fingers, and one day it's gonna be available, and it'll be like it's always been there. Call it a hunch. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sorry,
Right.
what I was going to say is we have a few minutes left, and I want to open the floor for other questions from anyone who's participating, and then we always save a few minutes at the end for announcements. So you know, maybe if you have a question, now's the time to ask it, but we'll ask for the answers to be brief.
I do have a question, actually, sort of a follow-up to what Anton just said. Thank you for elaborating on those challenges. So you mentioned it's a lot about workflow design. What other challenges do you see where you kind of need engineers for deployment? Are things like mapping already easy enough where other people can do that now, or do you see the same challenges there?
Very manufacturer dependent. What manufacturer we're talking about? Some are even at a stage wherein you can just hold a iPad and walk around your floor, and then it's all mapped out. If some are not at all there, wherein you need heavily engineered approach in mapping and things like that. But I think it's an easy task for manufacturers as they grow to get towards a easy mapping stage or easy deployment stage. But yeah, that's what we see. And really, right now, the role of system integrator is, I think it's more than a mediator between manufacturer and end user, because you design that workflow and you educate your customer on it. You create collateral, you educate your customers. It could be possible, because ultimately the aim is what Amazon's been working on, basically a dark lights off warehouse. Right? If that's the end game, what are these different workflows? I know there are individual AMRs that can transfer, but where can they be used and things like that. And then for us, it's that one-stop shop approach wherein we not just solve our problems, but other problems, right, for a end user. And then our approach is also, how do we get automation fastest to our end users? Okay, that's the biggest value of a system integrator. Traditional system integration is not that. You have 2 years of lead time on your hardware, and then another 1 year of deployment time on top of that. So that's 3 years down the road for a traditional automation sales cycle, which our approach is fully, how do we get AMRs fastest to our customers and users? And then finally, how do we become vendor agnostic, wherein we know manufacturer A is not a right fit, manufacturer B is, and then we promote manufacturer B. Right? That's not where the industry is today, but SIs are bringing that value today.
But apart of designing the workflows, you have to program everything, and many times it takes time, because okay, the workflow, you can figure out how to do that in a warehouse, a buffer. You can map easily, okay, depending on the software that you are, or the machine that you are using, on the brand that you are using. Then you have to program all these things to make them work. I mean, all the logic behind how does the buffer work. You have to define the logic, and then program in the software of the customer, in the software of the supplier, or in another software that is able to provide these instructions or this information to the OEM software. So in terms of programming, there is value to provide, I think.
Great. Thank you both. We'll jump into the hiring announcements and other announcements. I would be remiss if I did not, of course, Florian won't do this, but thanking Orbit for being a founding sponsor, helping us keep the virtual lights on and these videos posted online and continue to be hosted. as well as opening up the robot space in Mountain View for Andrew, and I believe that's leftover pizza if I saw it correctly. So is anybody hiring? Does anyone any have general announcements for the community?
Okay.
Florian, anything from you?
Also, if you're looking to get hired, this is also a good place to comment. Andrew?
Yeah, I'm looking for work right now. Ideally in the San Francisco area, but I'm definitely willing to relocate for the right opportunity. And as I mentioned earlier, my background in education is mostly with manufacturing engineering and chemical engineering, but I have worked with robots a bit, and I'm very interested in working with robots more in the future.
I have to say this is
Florian, you just went on mute, so I don't know what you had to say.
so some of you may know that I'm obsessed with pizza. Andrew knows the way to my heart, so he brought not just leftover pizza, but he actually baked a pizza here in the robot space for the first time. I think we might need a production cell for pizza back here at some point, but
And then have the robot bring it over to the table.
exactly.
Florian, come to Italy. I invite your pizza.
You just
hard sell.
I'm booking my ticket right now, Alfredo.
Come. If you only for one pizza, you are welcome. Come on, whenever you want.
Awesome.
Brandon Alfredo, thank you so much for bringing your expertise today. We really appreciate it. Hope everyone else appreciates it as well.
No, thank you, guys. It's
Brilliant.
my pleasure.
Thanks for inviting us.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in approximately 2 months when Florian and I schedule this next time.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody.